Now, this past week has been a week full of prayers and church activity. Of course, there was a prayer meeting called by the president at State House. Then the politicians have been falling over themselves to attend this or that church service on Sunday and making sure we all knew about it. And the church delegations visiting politicians. Not to mention that unforgettable sermon in Sugoi where King Solomon somehow killed Goliath many years after his father David had done such a complete job on the Philistine.
Tumeona daktari mbele yetu na yeye ni mtu wetu, kabila la Kenya, mtu wa Kenya. Daktari wetu tibu watu wako kwa kipole, kwa kipole. Weka sandani, weka dawa, kuna dawa, na weke pole pole. Mawe ya King Suleiman alikuwa mawe moja na aligonga Goliath mara moja taro.
Now, that was Father John Pesa of the Holy Coptic Church, one of the clerics from Nyanza who held special prayers at the Deputy President's home in Sugoi. Now, after the visit, Father Pesa had money problems, as he claimed some people had stormed his home demanding for a share of the cash he had supposedly got from the trip. Of course, later he told a local newspaper that he had only got 10,000 shillings from Sugoi and apparently used 6,000 for fuel, leaving him with just 4,000 shillings for his troubles. As for the Solomon story, Father Pesa put it down to old age. Now, I do not intend to quarrel with Father Pesa's theology tonight. I will leave that to theologians. But the increasing religious activity around the country's politics has taken me down memory lane. You see, when I was growing up, I used to hear many stories about church leaders of those days. My father, a lay reader in the Anglican Church, talked a lot about Dr. Henry Okulu, Bishop Alexander Muge, Manasseh Kuria, and many other leading clergy of the time. He recounted how they would speak and the country listened, how the country's second president, Daniel Arap Moi, would spend entire speeches responding to their sermons. Later on, as a journalist, I would cover some of them. Dr. David Gitari of the Anglican Church, Ndingi Mwananzeki of the Catholic Church, Timothy Njoya of PCA, and many others. I could even add the then General Secretary of NCCK, Mutava Musimi. What struck me about this man was the fact that they did not follow politicians around. They sent no delegations to their homes, and above all, they spoke clearly against injustice, poverty, and corruption. Now, I've heard the argument by some clerics lately that times have changed and that tactics of engaging the government too must change. That may well be. But I'm concerned about what I'm seeing right now because I was alive in 2007, 2008, when some church leaders were accused of taking sides in the heated and polarized campaigns. So steeped in the divisions were the church leaders that it became mission impossible for them to reconcile the warring nation at an hour of great need when that election went so wrong. No politician could trust them as neutral arbiters in the mayhem that ravaged the country for more than 2 months. A lot of water has since passed under the bridge. But once again, the country is facing a critical unity test, with the president and his deputy pulling in different directions and the country teetering dangerously on the brink. The rhetoric at funerals is hitting fever pitch, and the din on social media is deafening. The drums of war are clearly sounding, and ceaselessly so. That is why tonight I have another prayer, that church leaders will rise above the current noise, that they would rebuke the voices of hate and intolerance and whatever injustice in our nation, and that even when they get old, they will still remember that it is David, not Solomon, that actually slayed the giant called Goliath. That is my angle for the week.